Yes, we're here, and we're doing our little Warhammer Dagger thing. So we're going to get settled in here a little bit. We're going to continue on since we let this stuff dry, and we're going to get on here and see if we can get a few comments. See what's going on with that. This is what we have so far. So this Warhammer like Dagger, there'll be a link in the description box for this thing. And so what we're using is the Artecho paints. So we have these here. This is a pearl black, which ends up surprisingly kind of looking like a lead belcher from Citadel. So that's what we're using there. So anyway, what we'll do is we'll continue on doing our painting, and we're going to kind of get, I think we're going to end up doing is this stuff here, these little panels. We'll do those in brown, and that way we get a little bit of color. And as far as I can tell, at least from the Maker World site where I got this, I printed out and did some pictures. And with that, we'll get this painted, and yeah, we'll have some good pictures. Let's get everything situated here. Okay, move this guy out of the way. Okay, so if you're watching, I can see some comments up on, because I got my tablet that I'm checking things out. And so, yeah, Artecho paints. I got these off of Amazon, and these are pretty good. This is like a 60 milliliter tube. This is 59 milliliters, and they're way less expensive than Army painter paints. These are like $6–7 per ounce. These are way less, and they do a pretty good job. You don't have as many, but you could go through and you could end up with do some color combinations, and you'd be good. So we're just going to do a little bit of brown, burnt umber. And just do a little bit of water. And then we'll mix this up a little bit. Really looks like milk chocolate. There's a little palette knife that I made, and I'll post a link to my Creality Cloud page, The Varied Life. You can check that out, and we will get going. So this was actually a little bit shorter, so I scaled it up, and then I even stretched it out a little bit. You can kind of see the circle here. It's just a tiny bit stretched out, but I wanted something a little bit bigger, you know, that would fit in my hand, and I think this will turn out pretty nice. So I did some of the silver on here. And we'll just go through, and the other thing we'll end up doing, you get a little bit too much water, but probably have to go through and do a second coat on some of this stuff, but that's okay. And then we're also going to distress it. as well. I wanted to add some brown because in the picture of this thing, the dude that made it used AI, but it turned out pretty good. I was kind of surprised. Of course, then you get AI music and AI graphics, and now you get AI models and everything. So I think eventually it will get to a place of where, I mean, AI has already got into the music. I've already got interesting music that on Spotify, and then of course YouTube and all that. People that make AI music, and yeah, it's getting pretty popular. So we'll kind of go through and we'll do something like that. And again, we're going to need some. I made this a little light, but I'll go through. I think this will make a pretty cool model. And I actually got somebody who wants me to, they saw it, I posted some pictures of it, and where I live here in Korea, I got some people that want this and want to commission me for it, you know, for printing it out. I don't think I'll paint it, but you know, they can paint it themselves. But I think we can do that. Just seems like a cool little project to do. And then we'll also go through and we'll probably besides the distressing, we'll do a wash on here as well. So this is going to be different. The Artecho paints are pretty good, but the good thing is they're inexpensive, or not as expensive, and so you could do larger models without breaking the bank. So I kind of want to keep the Army Painter paints just for miniatures. So we'll see how it goes. But the Artecho paints have been pretty good. I've kind of enjoyed them. Gives me something to do. Being that I'm retired here in Korea, and after we get all this done, we'll seal it up with a matte varnish. That'll protect all the colors that we painted on here. So. And I did prime this. With a 2-in-1 primer. Some people were asking me if they needed to prime a PLA print before you paint it, and you definitely do. One, because it'll help fill in, you know, the layer lines and some of the gaps and everything. But two, it'll also help your paint come out nice. This isn't my normal streaming time. Usually I stream in the morning. At least it's morning here in Korea. But I just want to do more on this, and I had some time tonight. It's like 7:15 in the evening here. I think that'll turn out pretty nice. Like I said, we'll probably have to go through and do like a second coat on this stuff, which is fine. We'll get this looking pretty good. With a 3D printer, I got the Creality K2 Plus, and so the cool thing is you start doing little prints, and then you do more and more larger stuff, and then yeah, it just ends up being, just goes from there, and eventually, because I get some larger items, that's for sure. I want to do a cosplay armor. So, and at the age of going to be 60 this year, figure what the hell, why not? And since I'm retired, it also gives me something to do. And I was thinking about taking this and doing like airbrushing, but then it was like, you know what, that's an awful lot of tape that I'd have to do. So I just wanted to hit this thing up. Try to keep the paint out of the ferrule. So this should be a cool little project. Get that tiny edge. Since we're going to do some distressing work on this, not too worried about getting everything perfect, because again I want it to be a little bit warm, so we'll probably pull out the sponge and do some blotting on it. I think it turns out pretty decent. Almost looks like a wood with the brush strokes on here. That's kind of interesting. Have to remember that. We're going to have to get some more paint. We don't need that much more. This is a little silicone tray that I bought. It's supposed to go in like a bathroom or something, put your soaps on or whatever, but the silicone is really easy to clean. And that's why I like using it. Of course, I should probably get I have a wet palette, I just haven't really used it. And then one of these days I'll get some nicer brushes. This is like the Army Painter paint brush. It came in a set. It's kind of like, it's okay. But then again, I didn't really know how to take care of it. So now that I know a little bit better, I can end up getting some nicer brushes in the future. not a great painter. I think I do better at miniatures, but the larger stuff you do, the easier it is. Just do a little bit of cleanup here. It almost looks like it's got like a distressing look to it anyway. Since we got a bunch of paint left over, I'll just go through and just do a second coat on this. I can also do a second coat on the blade. I think I really need to do that. So I definitely want a more solid color coming in with that. Some gold, we'll do some bronze, see if we can't get some cool colors. We'll even do some, maybe we'll do like a, I don't know, those are rivets. Skull will be in obviously a skull color, bone color, so we'll do that. Turn it this way, we'll get the other side. Oh, I forgot that panel there. Oh, I didn't go around that side either with the gray. The silver, I should say. So I'll just leave a space for that. Shows you I wasn't paying attention. Let that dry, we'll get some of this other stuff here. If you got any questions or anything, I got a tablet so I can see your comments if you post anything. They won't automatically come up on screen, but I'll read your comment. I think that'll turn out pretty good. It's kind of a nice color we got there. Nice, nice. We still got a lot of brown left over. And we can't use the brown on anything here. So I can do the gray again. And then I also have some gray to do on the inside of these, because I missed that one too last time. But I had to cut last live stream a little short because my daughter was over here visiting, so we ended up going and getting brunch. So I guess we could revisit some silver or the black pearl. So we could do some of that stuff. And then with this, kind of the thought behind this is we got the silver, so we'll go over that again. And then silver on the inlays like I did on this side. This will be a bone color for the skulls. We'll do like a gold for like these little flowers. And then we will do a bronze, kind of like on this piece here. And maybe even bronze on these bands, and then gold rivets. And maybe we'll do black rivets on some of these, I'm not sure. So we'll do some kind of bronze stuff going on, and so that way we can really kind of brighten this thing up, and it should look pretty good. With that, I'm wondering if I should do this bottom piece in silver as well, or with this black pearl. I think we might, because I do have a couple other places that I need to do. And then we'll do some either bronze on these raised parts here, bronze kind of on here, and then something else, I'm not sure. Because it's got a lot of layers on here, so I'm not sure what we're going to end up doing with that. So we'll see. Add a little bit of water. And the Artecho paints are pretty good. I like the metallics. They don't have like as many as like Army War Painter or stuff like that, but they got the gold, the bronze, the silver, the black. They also got some other ones like purple, blue, green, orange, pink, yellow. Obviously those would be probably not something you'd want to do on a Warhammer, unless you're doing some kind of crazy themed Warhammer stuff. Too bad. And with acrylic paints, it's kind of nice because it's water-based. So if you make a mistake, it's not too bad. You know, we kind of wash it off with water and it'll be good to go. We're going to come back over the gold or the bronze or whatever. So I'm not too worried about getting 100% precise on this. That gold and silver will, or that gold or bronze, one of the two. Probably do the gold on this, and then that will cover up pretty good. So I'll just do a little bit. But when we do the gold or the bronze, we'll get the smaller brush and we'll get pretty, make sure we pay attention, and we'll get more precise, accurate and precise on our painting on that. So that way it looks good. Handle's nice. I like that. It's coming out good, especially with that brown. It's a good color brown. Kind of remind me of like a kind of a satchel oak brown type of look to it. So yeah, looks good. Not bad. But what are we going to do this? Because I could do these in bronze, and then I could do the bronze with this. That would look kind of wild, and then I could, you know, kind of go around here. I don't know. That's why I'm thinking of doing this part here in silver. I think I will. Oh, we got a little thing there that we can throw on some silver as well. So we might as well. I think I might have to close my door. My wife is watching Korean TV shows. I don't want to get a copyright strike on this video. Not be able to monetize it. So, because that's happened. I was in here painting, I can't remember which stream it was. I was doing a stream, and it ends up that you could hear Nat King Cole. And yeah, I finished the stream. I didn't even think about it. I didn't think you could hear it that much. I mean, I could hear it, but apparently it was enough for the YouTube algorithm or computer, whatever, to hear it. So it sparked that out. Let's see, I think we can get around there. We'll do some of these inside edges as well since we got some silver. That's kind of weird because, you know, going back to the music thing, copyrights and all that stuff, we've been to Vietnam, and we've been to we're going to the Philippines, but we've been to Thailand. And the wild thing is, you hear these foreign TV companies, their TV shows or commercials or kind of the celebrity shows that they have, and it's like they've got like modern day music, like Eminem and, some mainstream heavy hitters. And it makes you wonder, are they paying for that music that they're using? It kind of makes me question. Are they really? Or are they just kind of, do the laws not apply? I don't know. Just got to do that inlay in there. We got to do this side. Yeah, in Vietnam they had a lot of that too. There was a lot of songs on shows that were like, I don't know, I've seen fan TV shows and episodes that had better production quality than some of the TV shows I saw in Vietnam. It was like, but yet Vietnam, they're using like mainstream music, and it's like, I really doubt that they got copyright approval or paid a royalty to use, certain songs. It was like, and talking some recent songs too. So I was like, yeah, I don't know. So I don't know. And Korea does it too. They got better quality shows. I mean, I'm not into K-dramas and all that stuff, but they do use some pretty modern. This is just going to end up being, this is either going to end up on my wall, or it's going to end up on being in a wall on a local tabletop game store called MTG Humphreys Tabletop Games or something like that. And because we live close to a U.S. military base, they have a clientele of a lot of soldiers. And I saw that, and they were like, hey, we got a painting night. So you just go there and you hang out. You don't have to pay anything. And you just sit and paint your miniatures and talk and BS and whatever. So I went and did that, and it was pretty good. They had some good folks there. And then they have game nights. So they got like Magic the Gathering. That was probably the biggest. They've got a lot of people that do that. I was kind of amazed at how many did that. I mean, there was about 10 people or so that showed up for the painting stuff, just to sit and paint miniatures. And you bring your own models. They sell models and stuff like that. So, you got that. This is going to be interesting. and how we're going to do this. Maybe I should do this back portion in black. I should do this little piece here in silver and then do this in black. But that's what I'm using is black. So I would need a blacker black than the metallic black pearl. I would need, let's see, do I have black? Yes, I do. A lamp black. So we'll try that black on here. So we kind of got darker browns, and then the blade will be a lighter. I really like that color. It's like a lead belcher. So yeah, I think that's what we'll end up doing. We can paint this back side with this silver. And then we'll just come back and we'll do that black over the other stuff. And then that black, whatever we do, like the bronze or the gold, that'll really make that pop with that black. At least I hope so. Like I said, I'm not a professional painter. But we retired here in Korea. And actually I retired early at age 54. And I'm going to be 60 this year. But when we got here to Korea, it was like, okay, we go to the gym 3 days a week. My wife does the gym. I do the gym 3 days a week. She does yoga 2 days a week. So her week is full. And then I take Tuesday and Thursday off from the gym. And so I'll do some streaming and just kind of have some unsupervised time. So that'll come out, should come out pretty good. Like this. We're just slapping this stuff on. There's not any big rhyme or reason. Again, we're just kind of putting paint on to put paint on. And it's all going to probably get washed and distressed anyway. So, nothing too crazy. I'm no Picasso by any means. But yeah, I started painting, picked up a Warhammer box of like, was it 3 or 4 guys, 5 guys, something like that. And then started painting those, and those are god-awful expensive. And yeah, decided I want to learn how to paint. So that's what we've been doing, is just kind of find some stuff on YouTube, watch some videos, and just kind of practice and copy what other people were doing and try to, you know, think of stuff that would look cool as far as like color schemes. And it turned out pretty good. So it's not bad. Not bad at all. So I think what we can end up doing now is we can get back to our larger brush, so we can do more on the blade. So besides going to the gym, I do some painting stuff, and then I'm gonna make sure I don't touch that handle. Do some painting stuff, and then I print stuff on a resin printer and my 3D printer, my FDM printer. So I do that, and I want to do stuff like, I want to do a cosplay armor. I think that would be fun to do. I think I need to go a little bit thicker on this stuff, not so much water, so I can get some better coverage. So I do that, and then let's see, what else do I do? I like coffee and espressos. So while I was here in Korea, I learned how to do my own espressos. So I got my own espresso machine. So that's kind of cool. And then we go to different restaurants, cafes. We've gone to mix this up with a brush, or is that gonna? Should have just used my. Try to go with the grain on what kind of what you would see on a blade. Try to get the, so it kind of looks like a ground edge type of thing. And then some of the layer lines help, some of them don't. I didn't really do a lot of post-processing on this thing. I just ended up basically doing a little bit, and then did a little bit of 2-in-1 sanding as far as like with primer, paint and primer. And then I did a little bit of sanding on it, not much. I just kind of got bored, impatient, I guess you could say. And then, so yeah, I was like, yeah. I figured out, we'll just paint it, what the hell. Not too worried about it. Because again, it's, like I said, it's not going to be a fine work of art. Again, we're just doing the I really like this color though, because it reminds me so much of Lead Belcher. You can see that came out pretty good. Yeah, it's coming out pretty nice. I like that. I like it a lot. None to the other side. Maybe you should add a little bit of. streak there. Probably do this first. I really wish I kept up with doing some fun stuff as an adult, but I really didn't. I really just kind of ended up doing adult things and didn't think of having fun. I mean, I had fun. Spent a career in the military, blowing up stuff and whatever, you know, doing the military thing, shooting and all that. I enjoyed that. But as far as like other fun stuff, and so it really just kind of helped when I saw that Warhammer, those Warhammer figures, and it was kind of like, hey, that looks kind of cool. You know, it kind of reminds me of my time in the military. I've never played Warhammer, but at that game store they have games and they do tournaments, I guess, and they'll have people who'll show you how to play. But I really wish that I kept up with that stuff, with gaming and stuff like that, for more of my life than just trying to find this out at the end. As it ends up, I think it would have helped with stress. I think it would have helped with a lot of different things. Instead of just trying to be serious all the time. Gotta have fun. Highly suggest it. Have fun. Don't be a stuck-up adult. I go to the gym and I do adult stuff, but I mean, gotta do fun stuff too. And don't take yourself too seriously. Too many people do that. Lord knows, I mean, you just gotta go on social media, TikTok or whatever, and you'll see a bunch of old people just being Karens and stupid, and, you know, I don't ever want to be that way. I don't want to be the old guy on social media that gets making an ass out of himself and somebody films me for being ignorant and stupid. It's just like, let things go. Let it roll off your back. I really like how that silver's coming out. even though it says it's black, it's like, I wouldn't call it black. It is indeed, looks like lead belcher. So I think it's going to come out really nice. Let's go ahead and get the edges here. And the streaming thing is just, I don't get a lot of viewers. And that kind of bothered me for a while because pretty much everything I've done in life I've succeeded in fairly well. But I'm not going to make an ass for myself on social media. So I'm not going to be lighting my farts on fire. I'm not going to be like Vitaly, you know, that guy, nuisance streamers. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be like a, you know, First Amendment auditor, you know, stuff that those people never would have done that stuff. And the only reason that they do it is because they get paid on social media. So it's kind of funny how all those people that are like First Amendment auditors, oh, I'm standing up for my rights. It's like, no, you're only doing that because you're getting paid. You're just saying you're standing up for your rights. And all the ones that I've talked to and chatted with online, not a single one of them did what they do before social media started paying people for videos on that stuff. So yeah, there's that. And really, filming inside a post office, that's you're standing up for your rights. Whoop-de-doo. I didn't know that was a big thing. Because most people who have a job go to the post office, they mail their stuff, they go to work, and yeah. So apparently, those people do it full time, which tells me that's their job. So yeah. We got George's back. We got Ed Noy. I wouldn't even put myself out on SMS. I guard my privacy. Yeah, I used to do that too. But then it was like streaming. I don't know. I don't care. There's certain information I will keep privy and silent. That's for sure. I think I should do this in silver because I'm going to do this part. I can do this part in silver, I think will work, and then this part here I'm going to do in black. So let's go ahead and do that. And I think the only reason I'm going to do that is because I have extra paint. And to get rid of the paint, and I think the contrast would be good because we'll do a black on this part here. Good noise to Steve. I live in a small city and I'm a foreigner. Oh, okay. I know how that goes. My wife is Korean, and when we moved, after I retired from the Army, we moved to Pueblo, Colorado, and yeah, there weren't not a lot of Koreans. So yeah, she's the opposite of me. I don't mind being on camera. She's like, nope, don't want to be on camera. So that's fine. I guess it's true what they say, opposites attract. Let's see if we can reconstitute some of this a little bit. So I get it. When you're a foreigner in a different country, you don't really want to stand out. And you don't even have to be just a foreigner. I've known foreigners that have want to, they do stand out. No. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Okay, I think that's going to look pretty good. Dun, dun, dun. Ed Noise says, so I stand out already. I don't see any vloggers in my area. There must be a reason for that. Could be. Or it could be that most of the people are just busy working and, doing real jobs and stuff like that. Not that blogging is not a real job. I mean, it can be a real job, but like a regular job of non-social media type, We lived in a small town, a couple of them. Like Pueblo, Colorado was like 150,000, so that's not small. But then we moved to south of Pueblo, or not south, west of Pueblo, and that town was like 20,000, and other places like 5,000. So yeah, it's wife and I stood out, or the wife stood out. And since me and the wife were always together, I guess I kind of stood out as well. So I totally get that. So yeah, this has turned out good. I got some brown I scratched up. Be careful with what I'm doing. This brown comes in kind of blotchy, which isn't bad because it kind of gives it some little bit of detail. Kind of like it's worn already. I just want to get some of these big spots here. Dun, dun, dun. You vlog inside for the most part. So private. Yeah, that's true. I've done some vlogging outside, but it's not too often. It's not that I don't like it, but if there's some festivals or something, or we go to some kind of cool looking place, I'll do a little bit, but I'm just not that into, like, definitely not into nuisance streaming. I will not do that at all. But then again, I don't make much money. I'll tell you that right off the bat. I'll get a few dollars a month or whatever. It's really not anything. But whatever I do get, I'll combine that with my allowance, and I'll buy like the wireless microphone, the new camera and stuff like that. So every little bit helps, but mostly I use my allowance. So whenever I buy something, especially when I get like people that buy me coffee or something, or I get YouTube money, there's a little bit of advertising money there that I get from that, but it always goes into something that's it's not like paint. It's not like something that's a consumable. It'll be something, like the lights or help with the camera or, stuff like that. Computer cables, camera cables, stuff like that. Paint brushes, I think was the last one that I bought where I had a little donation money. So Okay, it's turned out kind of good. Kind of good. Kind of good. And if nobody donates, that's fine with me too. And I guess what we can end up doing is we can do the black. Lamp black. If I remember, this turns out pretty good. So we'll do black on this. And then we'll still have black with the silver. Then we'll have like a gold or a bronze for that little inlay thing that we got going on there. These will probably be bronze colored. And maybe with the gold, I'll do the rivets on these with gold. Maybe I'll do those with gold, little center pieces. And then, yeah, maybe bronze on those. I don't know. But we'll do some black. Or I could do bronze. Because if I do this in black, I want to leave that towards the end. Because I'm going to be touching that. So we could do the bronze. Let's do bronze. And this stuff you don't need to shake up, which is kind of nice. I like that. But that's a good color bronze. See that? That is pretty nice. I like that. Let's do a couple drops. There are some beautiful places to walk where I live, but I keep them to myself. Maybe I'm selfish. Nothing wrong with that. When you see Koreans in the day, do you greet them? No. It's more of just, so I'm putting my hand in the paint on the other side. No. Because usually, you know, if we're going somewhere, we're walking, and people are busy or they're working or whatever. But if people say hi to me, I definitely say hi back. And of course they say hi to like practice their English or whatever. So, but it's not like walk down the street and say hello to everybody. But to like our favorite restaurants and places like that, we'll say hello to servers. And any restaurant we go to, we'll say hello to people and whatever. But it's not like a Mayberry, USA. It's not like, hey, how you doing, John? Hey, doing fine, Fred. Yeah, it's not like that. But the favorite restaurants that we go to, we'll definitely, say hello and welcome to, or hi to, managers and servers and stuff like that. Ooh, look at that. Let's kind of get in. Do the inside edging thing first. I'll just kind of keep my eye out. I mean, I'll notice a lot of other Americans that are here, and for some strange reason, the older Americans, I'm older. Like I said, I'm going to be 60 this year. But like if I'm walking out in town or whatever and I see some foreigners or older foreigners, they'll always just kind of, look, hey, I'll say hey back, but I don't know if they're saying hi just because, hey, it's an older person like me. I don't know. Get that in there. I'm not averse to saying hello, but I guess some people can get really lonely. No good mornings? Not really. Again, we're retired, and most people are busy, so, they're going to work, they're in a rush, get to the bus stop or whatever. So, and then like on public transportation, it's not like you get on the bus and everybody says hello or anything. It's, public transportation is really, it's nice, but it's also very quiet here in Korea. So that's something that I appreciate. It's almost like it's in a church. Like we just got back from, had a doctor's appointment up in Seoul, so he took the train up there, and you get on the train, and it's like a 20-minute ride, but it ends up, it's all quiet. It is like super quiet. And if you talk on your phone too loud, usually you got to go outside of the car, and then you answer your phone. But yeah, they're real, I don't know, it's just real respectful in regards to noise levels. How does that turn out? That's going to be nice, isn't it? Everyone I encounter on a morning walk smiles and says good morning in Japanese. Oh, okay, that's cool. That's nice. We want to visit Japan one of these days. So we want to do that. But I will say, when we went to Vietnam and when we went to Thailand, when we would see people, we would say hello and good morning and stuff like that. But then it's, we're kind of on vacation. But, here in Korea, people are going to work, and so there's not a lot of people that are just kind of like walking around like we do. So that's kind of maybe that's it. I don't know. Oh, I like that. That's going to be a good color. But I have run into like college students, younger people that will say hello, and because they want to like practice their English, and I guess I'm a little bit different than most Koreans, than most foreigners even, because I'm 6'2" and I'm pretty muscular, and so I'll have people that will stop me and like, oh, very nice, very big. Ooh, a lot of muscle, So it's kind of fun, and I'll talk with people and stuff like that. But I guess it kind of depends on where you're at. Like we went to Seoul, I don't think anybody said hello to us. as we're in train stations and, you know, getting taxis and public transportation and stuff like that. So it's kind of a different little, everybody's busy getting to work. Everybody's busy doing work. But yeah, it's just kind of different. Makes me happy. I guess my area is a bit rural. Quiet is great. Yeah. I wouldn't mind living out in the country. Honestly, I wouldn't mind that. And we're actually, we're considering that. So we're thinking, and it all depends on what we can find. So we're in the budget for another apartment, possibly another apartment. But if we can find like a country house, then we're gonna, you know, with a decent size place, kind of similar to what we have now. And then if it's no more than 45 minutes away from the military base here, and then the wife's family is close by too, so that's, we're kind of tied to that. That we could do a country house, as long as I got room for my 3D printers and all my stuff. I could do that. It's coming out nice. Ed Noise says there's a lot of wild deer nearby, even bears. Oh yeah, I saw that on the news. Japan, y'all got some bear problems over there. That's pretty wild. Just need to open up hunting season, I guess. Get you some bear meat. We've got deer here in Korea, but they're small and I haven't seen any. Of course, we live in kind of close to a city. But I've seen deer when we were like driving around kind of the countryside type areas and stuff. So we've seen deer. But they're not big, that's for sure. They're not like deer you see in the United States. You know, in the States, I'm used to seeing like deer and elk, you know, bighorn sheep. You know, we lived in Colorado. So, but yeah, they don't got anything big like that. Or bison. And our bears in Colorado are big, big bears. Not like mule deer. Yeah, that's true. That is true. I guess they don't do a lot of hunting here in Korea. It's not as big as like what it is in Colorado, that's for sure. You know, you get people all around the United States and the world will come to Colorado to go hunting. And then, you know, places like Montana, Arkansas, some of those places. They can do a lot of hunting, but haven't really seen that here in Korea. Not a real big gun country. This is going to turn out nice. I like this. But I like it here. You know, low crime. We don't got a lot of BS like we had in the United States. Expenses are less, so our expenses are half of what they were in the United States, so we really enjoy that. That was kind of probably one of the bigger things, is that we saw that we could retire over here and we wouldn't have to pay as much for utilities, you know, gas, water, electric, stuff like that. And even though the economy's in a little rough spot here and prices are going up, it's still cheaper than what we paid in the United States. So, yeah, it's still not a big deal. Still good for us. So that turns out kind of good. You have to go in there and clean up with some of the silver or whatever. But that looks nice. I like that. I like it a lot. Question is, are we going to do any bronze on anything else? Can do some bronze here on these ribbed areas here. Clean this brush up and get some soap in there. Recently somebody sent me a message and we're kind of chatting back and forth and was asking me, well, do you think you'll ever go back to the United States? Honestly, I was like, nope, not planning on it. I think we're going to try to, we'll either be here or somewhere else, but I don't want to go back to the United States. Don't want to do it. Bronze is almost like a copper. It's like a shiny copper color, but it says it's bronze. Yes, same. I got some little touch up of gray I could do, but almost touched the bronze. So I could do these in gold. These little strips here. And then gold. Or maybe do those in bronze and then gold for the these little flower things. You do those in bronze and then do the gold in the little center of those things. So I have bronze and then gold. And then we could do gold here, here, on this stripe here, this stripe here. This is kind of an odd thing because it's not the same on both sides, so it's kind of a, I'm not sure what we'll do for that color. Maybe we'll get in to do some black, I'm not sure. Let's try a little bit of gold and see what happens. And we'll do a little bit. The gold's a pretty good color. Comes out, it's pretty nice. I like it. But will it be too much? I'm not sure. Let's find out. A little dirty. Yeah, I enjoyed it. How about you, Adnoy? Are you going to stay in Japan, or is it just for work and you're just there, or are you planning to stay there forever and a day? Or are you thinking about retiring somewhere else? Or anybody else that's watching, think about overseas retirement? You know, a lot of people that weren't able to retire thought about retiring in Korea, or not specifically Korea, but overseas retirement. So let's see if we can do some gold on this and see what this will turn out like. I don't know. That is going to have to be a few coats on that, because I accidentally painted that with that silver. But it's looking nicer there. Not bad. Obviously we're going to need a couple coats, or, well, yeah, we're going to need a couple coats. Or I can just use the gold on the next one and not water it down. Yeah, that's probably what I'll have to end up doing to get a little bit thicker. Yep, we'll need a couple coats. Without water, that's for sure. A little bit more delicate on my strokes. Yeah, retirement's kind of an interesting thing. And there's so many seniors these days that are close to retirement that don't have the money to retire. And so a lot of surveys of seniors are like, yeah, we're not going to retire. They don't have enough to retire, so they're going to keep working. And then they all cite that the rising expenses in the United States, cost of living has increased a lot. So I don't know how much, if I want to do that piece there. It'll be kind of a different look, I guess. I don't know, it might work. We'll see. Worst thing, we just repaint it. But yeah, overseas retirement is good for us, so we like it. And it really came down to, I could have worked more, but I didn't know if I wanted to. It was really a soul-sucking job. And so it's kind of like I was like, I don't think I'm into that. I think for my mental health, it was, given the opportunity, I'm glad I took it. But then we were kind of preparing. You know, we paid off all our debts, and you know, we knew that part of the thing that we wanted to do when we retired was have no debts and have a house paid for. You know, because who wants to have a mortgage when you're retired and still paying a mortgage? Nobody wants to do that. I know, it's old school. People are like, oh, you shouldn't have paid off your mortgage, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, you did. and it worked out for us. So, but with that was one of the things that by selling our house in the United States, we were able to buy the place that we live in now, and so we don't have a mortgage. So that was a huge bonus. So usually the largest expense that you have, we don't have that. And it really paid off. I mean, it doesn't make sense financially. You know, we could have got a better return on investments if we took that money and we put it into, retirement funds or whatever, Could have done something like that. But, for the most part, it still worked out good for us. It was old school. Old school, getting ready for retirement, pay off your house. People don't do that these days. Because technically, we could have put that money into, retirement vehicles and other investments that make a better return, but yeah, it was just, it's working for us, so. Because got a little bit on there. But because we did that, and I've let my, people know what I've done. I talk about it online and stuff like that. But some people actually got mad at me. Like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. And they got really, really upset. Mathematically, financially, you should have, invested and not paid off your house and, shouldn't have paid down your debt and should have put it more into investments. But I always tell people, it's like, yeah, you're exactly right. But I like the security of having a paid off house. And that I've seen people who didn't pay off their house and they fell on hard times and they weren't able to keep their house. And, that would be horrible, because investments go up and down. And yeah, over time, there's safe investments and stuff like that. But, for us, it was like, oh, and you shouldn't retire at 54, in your 50s. You should wait until you're 67 when you get Social Security and, maximize the amount of your investments, and don't draw them out until those are in, you're in your 70s or whatever. And it's like, I don't even know if I'll make it. And I'm planning to live to 85. But you never know. But yeah, it's just like, I had one guy, man, he kept going back and forth, and it was like, dude, leave me alone. I get it. I ran the numbers. I totally understand. But he would keep emailing me and telling me, and it's like, dude, I already made the decision. And we had already paid off our house. And I said, so yeah, it's not like I can go back in time and redo it. So stop bringing it up. And he couldn't. And the guy used to be a really nice guy. But he just kind of went crazy over that. And yeah, finally I told him, I said, hey, you got to stop this, or I got to block you. What's done is done. I said, that's not going to change. And you emailing me, and soon that got to be the thing that he did. That's all he did. And so he was supposedly he knew a lot about finance and investing, even though he wasn't retired yet. I mean, he'll probably retire with way more money than I'll ever have. But I try to be nice and tell him and say, hey, just it's already done. I already paid off my house, so I don't know why you keep sending me and telling me that I'm wrong and whatever. I guess he just kept watching my videos or whatever and just get mad. But it's like, yeah. I gave him 3 chances. I gave him 3 chances. I said, hey, I'm going to give you 3 chances to let this go. And yeah, that'll be it. So sure enough, he did it again. I told him, that's one. I said, remember, I told you 3 times. I said, we can talk about anything else. And that's how our relationship started. And I knew this guy for 5 years, 7 years, something like that. We'd known each other for a minute. And we would talk about a lot of different stuff. But for some reason, it just got up his nose just to keep harping on this investment stuff. And I guess he didn't like the fact that in one of my videos it said how we retired early or whatever, and that we paid off her house. And he said, that's not really retiring. Well, I don't know. I'm retired. I feel retired. I'm not working. I'm comfortable. But he couldn't let it go. So he did it again. He did it again. And the last time I told him, I said, hey, remember I told you, don't do it. I said, I really like you, but this whole thing where you constantly harp on me paying off my house instead of investing that money. I said, I'm getting tired of you, doing that. And he answered me back, and I said, okay, that's it. I blocked him. I said, have a nice life. Kind of like reminded me of religious people. Because I know a lot of people. I don't mind. You can believe what you want to believe, and you can tell me what you believe, and if you want to share what you believe, at least ask me. Don't force it down my throat. And we can have a civil conversation. But some people can't do that. So sometimes you just got to let them go. Say, hey, I get it. I can understand how you see that is important. But for me, I'm not there, or I don't see it. So respect my opinion. And yeah, I don't want to talk about this. And some people can't do that. So, yeah, oh well. Yeah, I shouldn't have watered down that gold. The gold just by itself looks so much better without that water. It's a lesson learned. nice and thick if you don't water it down. It's definitely the way to go. I think what we'll end up doing is we'll do some bronze in here somewhere, like bronze around here. I think yellow, and we'll distress it, and I think we'll blot some stuff on there. I think it'll turn out pretty decent. So, any other places I could do? Well, I could do those little, I could do bronze and then do the gold. I think that would be a better idea. I could just paint these with the gold, and then I could do the bronze over that, or around it. That'll look good. We'll see. I just wish that, you know, that this one and this one were the same size. It just doesn't make a lot of sense, but like I said, the guy who made this, he said he used AI to generate this. I don't know if he did text to image, and then come up and then do text to STL. I'm not sure. It turned out pretty good though, I think. So, Ed says, yesterday my ankle was swollen and hurt, so I limped to the orthopedist. What'd they end up saying? Hopefully it's just like a minor sprain or something. I tweaked my shoulder in the gym because I was trying to be like a young guy again, and I went too hard, too heavy, too fast. Well, too heavy. That's what I ended up doing. I took an x-ray and said it was a sprain. Okay. Well, that's good. It was only a sprain. I have no recollection of doing it. Isn't that what old people say? I don't remember. How'd you get that cut? I don't remember. Or your body just does stuff and it's like, I didn't do anything. It just hurts. Okay. Anything else I could do gold? I could do gold on there. I don't know. Might take that silver and go back and do the rivets in silver on that. Ed says I qualify as old. Yeah, eventually we all do. Eventually we all do. Unless you die young, then no. It says, but the staff at the office was interesting to say the least. Really? Why's that? Are they kind of like, they get a lot of foreigners, or just because you were a foreigner, it was a little different? Or the way that they do medical is different than in the U.S.? Try to get another coat on here. You know, in Korea, we went to Samsung Medical Center, which is one of the top 5 hospitals in Korea. Man, it was like a bus station. They had so many people. They get so efficient at treating people, but it's tiring. I mean, it's almost like you are in a bus station during rush hour. And the hospitals here is just absolutely crazy. And it's mentally draining. It's not like what we're used to in the States, that's for sure. Which is more laid back and Korean doctors see, like, they were saying something like 120 patients a day or whatever. Kind of insane. They're constantly busy. They're pretty nice, but they seem a little too young. I know, right? I totally get that. I know the people that did the EKG and that. Yeah, it was like, you're so young. Like, you still look like you're in high school. Someone once said that everyone in Japan is a soldier, but no one wears a uniform. I know for one psychiatrist or psychologist or whatever the dude, whoever does my PTSD, and he's telling me about PTSD, and it's it's going to be like this and this and this, and it's like I know the guy's in his like late 20s, maybe 30, and it's like he's telling me all this stuff about PTSD, and it's like I've had PTSD since like 1989, 1990. Yeah, I know exactly. I already know. All I want is my meds, and I want to get out of your hair because I don't like people. for the most part, or crowds or things like that. So going to a Korean hospital is a little taxing on me. So I think it looks all right. Not bad. But yeah, everybody looked young. The lady that did my EKG, yeah, she was young. The guy did my blood draw, he was like super young. It was like, does your mom know you're here doing this? It says no one wears a uniform. Oh, really? Korean hospitals, everybody wears a uniform. This was a small clinic close by, but they had a huge staff of all girls. Huh. Interesting. What else can we do in gold? If that's going to be gold, those dots, that's going to be bronze. I need to do some other colors, maybe gold up on that part there, on the bottom. It's just oddly made. I don't know. Not sure. They don't, no one wears a military uniform. I should have said, oh, okay. Oh, okay, yeah, I got that. And they don't carry weapons. Right? I don't know if I should do a little bit of gold down that little break area there. There's no reason for it, but maybe we'll add a little bit something. But yeah, hospital staff generally in Korea are really nice, really polite. I made the, kind of made a mistake. So I was getting a bunch of tests done for physical, and it ends up for the urine sample, it was like they do my blood test, and then it's like, okay, well, here's your cup. And then so I'm like, ask the question in Korean, where do I do the urine sample, or where's the bathroom? And apparently that was enough Korean, so she thought, or he thought, I was fluent. And so it was on like Donkey Kong. It was just like, whoa, 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 whoa. I can pick, it was like, I could pick out some words like, you know, bathroom, straight, left. I got that. And then there was a bunch of other stuff that I didn't understand. And I was like, okay, I don't want to, and they're busy. Like I said, it's like a bus station in there. And, I was like, oh, okay, whatever. But I kind of figured it was like, you know, then I had to ask somebody else where to drop the specimens off at. So I asked another clerk, and she spoke slower. It was an older lady, and I was able to ascertain that there was a special bathroom that had a collection point for urine samples. I was like, oh, okay. So it was like, okay, I think I got it. So yeah, it was an interesting trip. And my wife was getting her physicals, so she had to do her tests and everything, and we weren't at the same, with the same provider or technician or anything like that, because they have so many people there. So when you get your blood drawn, there's like a line of like 10, 15 different booths where you get your blood drawn. And so my wife was at one, and I was at a totally different one. So yeah, it was kind of an interesting little. Interesting little place. So the young staff in medical places, says Ed, resemble airline stewardesses in a way. Yeah, that's kind of the same in Korea as well. I mean, they still wear kind of like smocks, but it's not like scrubs. They are scrubs, but they're nicer. It's more, yeah, like you said, kind of like a uniform type of look. That's a good way to put it. So yeah, it was kind of like that. So okay, I think that's what we got for now. Not bad. But it's definitely not, I don't know about Japan. Well, you went to a smaller clinic. I went like to one of the top 5 hospitals in Seoul. So it's not like, hey, how you doing? How's the wife and kids? How you been feeling? See any movies lately? There's no small talk. It's like you go in, you get your test, and that's it. You are done. Get and go. Be like, thank you. And then, if you get that, you're lucky. I always say thank you. And they'll be like, yeah, 감사합니다, yeah. Well, it's 9 o'clock at night, so I think I'm going to call this, and I think we got a pretty good amount of, I need to clean up this though, brown or black or something, I don't know. Clean up those edges. Of course, I was handling it a lot, so I'll probably have to redo some of that. We'll call this good for now. But yeah, I think it turned out pretty good. Got a good sheen on it. Got some color. Alrighty. Well, hey, Ed, good night. Have on another stream, and everybody else who's watching. This is going to be it. So we'll go ahead and we'll turn that off, and we will head back to the desk. We'll do our little final goodbyes here. Yeah, Concept Gaming says it looks good. Yeah, it is. It's turning out pretty nice. I like it. We got some good coloring on there. Get some good contrast, and then I think it'll end up be a good looking little project there. So what are we going to end up doing? Let's get back to the desk. We'll do our final little goodbyes. Alrighty, so there it is, what we finished up. Well, we didn't finish up. We ended up, we're not doing a paint carrying case. We're just doing the upgrade, or the second painting on our little deal there. So you can see that. So that worked out pretty good. Yeah. Let me get this over here and we'll just do a little bit of adjustments. So that way we got that. Concept Gaming says it looks good. Have a great one. Yeah, you as well. Appreciate that. And watch out. They might stop us from making knives one day soon. Yeah, Washington State wants to ban like 3D printing and because of gun parts and stuff like that, but there's nothing on, you know, CNC machines. Those aren't outlawed, which I would rather use a CNC machine to make a gun than a 3D printer, but because you could actually mill metal and stuff like that. But yeah, kind of crazy stuff that we got going on. Seriously. So, yeah. So Ed Noy says, have a good Sunday. You as well, everybody else. Concept Gaming says, absolutely crazy. Yeah, I would have thought they would have done more on the copyright stuff for like copyright infringement and stuff like that instead of kind of going right after 3D printers, because I thought that was kind of, I didn't think that would be a deal, but apparently it is in Washington State. I don't know who put the bug in their ear. That's absolutely crazy. Concept Gaming says you can go to the hardware store, get a pipe, and add a bullet. Oh, yeah. You can make a real good firearm at Home Depot. Yeah, it doesn't take much at all, you know. I think they want us to stop making our own stuff. Yeah, it could be. I've heard some conspiracy theories of the one conspiracy theory is that they want to hamstring China so Chinese products don't get into the United States. And so they did it with drones, DJI and the drones, because they're awesome and incredible drones. Let me get my drink. But yeah, they outlawed those. Any new ones from, oh, my drink is empty. Dang it. So yeah, a lot of people were pissed off about that, and I would be too. But they overregulate drones and the flying of drones in the United States anyway. To fly a drone, you got to get certified. You can get in trouble. You can get fines if you don't have it. And we're talking about, you know, what, 250, 300-gram drones or whatever. They're like, oh, it's almost like it's a NASA. But yet I can buy an ultralight, a one-manned flying vehicle. I don't need a license, don't need a permit. I can just get in it and fly. I don't need anything for that, but I need something for a tiny drone. Absolutely crazy. So yeah. Concept says, yeah, they did it with the BYD cars also. Yeah, amazing cars, exactly. Far better and cheaper than any Tesla. I know. I've been watching more and more on that, and it's like, holy crow, they've got an overabundance, and they've got some really good cars that are electric cars. I'm not really for electric cars myself, personally, because the electricity that is used to generate electricity is all fossil fuel for the most part. So you're not really saving the environment, in my opinion. And if you look at what it costs to build the car and then what that does to, you know, the planet, whatever, yeah, it's still, you know, and even then, the windmills, the big windmills and wind farms and stuff like that, that's a loss for that as well. So Concept says he's the same. It's great to see their hybrid truck. Yeah, there's a lot of cool vehicles, and I think one of the vehicles that's coming out here in Korea is they have a hydrogen vehicle, and so they got like 5 or 7 hydrogen refill stations. But if you want to take care of the environment, have a hydrogen vehicle. And if we can get the infrastructure for that, because the byproduct of burning hydrogen is water, yeah, how great is that? And to get hydrogen, you could basically burn water, separate the hydrogen out of it, and that's a pretty easy way and thing to do. So, but yeah, I would love to do a hydrogen vehicle. I think that would be better. But yeah, that has got a long way to go, because you got a ton of gas stations. You got some recharging stations, and then you don't have many hydrogen refill stations here in Korea. Like I said, it's like 5 or 7 of them, and that's it. But yeah, those look really good. Those look really good. Even the electric cars here in Korea, made by Korean companies like Hyundai and things like that, their electric vehicles, I don't know, they seem a lot better. And I've ridden in a number of electric vehicles and taxis and stuff like that. I don't know, they seem a lot better than Tesla. So, and apparently, if the Korean manufacturers of electric cars, if those get in a crash, you can actually get out of the vehicle and not burn inside them like Tesla, because there's no mechanical door handle release thing. So, yeah, kind of an important thing. That amazes me right there. I just don't understand how you could have a vehicle where multiple instances of people burning alive in the vehicles because the car doors won't open, because there is no mechanical override or mechanical door latch to get out. I don't know how there's still a company in that. I'm so thirsty. So yeah, it's definitely kind of a thing, but yeah, far better. Concept Gaming says, yeah, bang the nail. You can bang a nail through the battery of a cell on a BVD, and it won't catch fire on one like a Tesla does. Oh, wow. And now the battery technology is getting even better, to where, you might get, 250, 300 kilometers, 350 kilometers or whatever, at least here in Korea. But now they've got battery technology where it looks like you could go to 500 kilometers or 550 or something like that. And the charging is even faster. And so we're catching up on the battery side of things. So that might be something I would be interested in. Maybe. I'm still kind of hesitant on the electric thing. So it's kind of like, I don't know. But the Chinese BYD cars, holy crow. There was a guy who, he was American, but he went back to China or whatever. He's like a Chinese American. And he was driving a BYD car, and he pulls into this service station for his electric car to swap out the battery. Not to charge, they had chargers, but he pulls up his car, and the station moves his car in there. They take the battery out. They put a fully charged battery in, like you replace a battery in a device, open it up and put it in there, and gave him a new one, and he was out in less than 5 minutes. And he's got a fully charged battery, and he went on his way driving. So that was pretty amazing. I thought, wow, that is impressive. In the States, you got to get supercharging, or you got to do a trickle charge at your home. But no, you can go to this place, and I guess they had a number of them. You just drive in, boom, it goes in, takes the old battery, puts in a new one. The old one stays there as it recharges back up. That's some hot shit. That is stuff. Concept says, I love a BYD Shark. I haven't seen that. Maybe we can pull that up. BYD Shark. Oh, look at that. Really? Y'all got to see this. Look at that. That is the BYD Shark 6. First longitudinal EHS drive assembly. You get all kinds of long distance drive, about 800 kilometers combined driving range. So I'm assuming that's like a, oh, it's a hybrid system. Yes, it is. Oh, that's a nice looking vehicle. Nice. That is, ooh, look at that. So you do the blue, white, gray. Ooh, I like that. Gray, green. That's the color I like. That's the color I like right there. What does the interior look like? Oh, wow. That is nice. That's sharp. I like that. Hybrid grunt. Nice. Huh. Let's see what other they got. I would want to get like a smaller car. The Surf? It's pretty cool. Concept says check out the Yang Wang U9. Pure electric. Let me see if I can, let me just take a look at this one real quick. 30% to 80% fast charge in 30 minutes. Ooh, blade battery. It's got a cool little car. Nice clean inside. I like that. That looks good. See if we can find the, what was that one? Yang Wang U9. High performance supercar. U9 Extreme. Let's take a look at that baby. Look at that. Conventional Mind says, man, that looks wild. Fastest car on the planet, 496 kilometers an hour. That would be way too much. Wow. I would have to have a governor on that. Wow. That's crazy. Extreme performance. That is wild. Yeah, their electric cars are pretty wild. There's like a little sporty thing there. The Seal. .570 kilometers. 3.8 seconds, 0 to 100 kilometers. Come on. Yeah, it's just, wow. Concept says, I'd rather one of those over any other hypercar at half the price. Yeah. It can also jump. Yeah, some of these cars are wild. Smart storage charging, 26 minutes from 30% to 80%. Yeah, that is wild. Traction system. And such a low center of gravity too, all that weight, and then that's definitely going to help with safety. That is wild. Yeah, BYD has got some, they got some cranking stuff. That is for sure. That is for sure. The 7, the Shark, Sea Lion. Atto 3. We'll show what it looks like. Got some good looking cars, man. That's definitely without a doubt. So Dolphin. Wow. Concept says now you can see why Tesla is quickly trying to merge with SpaceX before they go bankrupt. But you got to admit, Tesla's done a lot with Tesla and getting Teslas out there. They really pushed it. But I think the protectionism, forcing China not to come into the United States and all of that stuff. Ooh, and I don't know if Trump has threatened tariffs against China if they try to sell vehicles to other countries. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, definitely. I mean, could you imagine if BYD sold electric vehicles in the United States? I wouldn't get one. I remember seeing the early Teslas and everything and how the quality control was lacking. The spacings between the panels wasn't uniformed. I mean, it was a car, but it's not something I would spend that much money on for a car. So, Concept says it's been sold on lies and false promises. Says my brother has a Tesla. Hey, we got Swedish Forge is back. He's in the house. And Concept says that Tesla was meant to have self-driving in 2013. And it still hasn't evolved today. Yeah, I think you're talking, I think I saw something they were talking about self-driving in the next couple of year or two or something like that. I don't know. That'd be interesting to see what BYD does and how they're self-driving, because I haven't looked at that at all. I've seen some of their vehicles, but I haven't really dug deep into all they have. But their vehicles are definitely a lot nicer. So I've seen some Teslas up close and personal, and it's kind of like some of the interior, the plastic parts, it's kind of I mean, they're nice, but when you start riding in other vehicles like Hyundai electric vehicles and the other ones that they have in Korea, yeah, you're like, yeah, those are a lot nicer. Tesla's sensors are far too small. Okay, I didn't know that. Are they? And wasn't it that Elon didn't want to use LiDAR or anything like that? He's like really opposed to doing LiDAR for some reason, if I remember correctly. Concept says my brother came up and even bugs splattering on them throughout the sensors. Oh, wow. That's rough. Sweetness says I cleaned out my models. Let's get you up here. Where is it? Cleaned out my models that aren't glued together. Sigh. I needed to get something. Are you going to buy a car? No, we still have our Hyundai Sonata, and we will run that until it dies. So we bought it used, a few years old. I think it was like 2019 or something. And we'll run that. We'll take care of it until it dies, and then we'll get another vehicle. So, but hopefully by that time, Korea will have their, hopefully their hydrogen car will come out. Let me see if I can find that. Korea. Dun, 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 dun. Korean hydrogen car. Best thing to do. Wait. Or real car patriot. So here's the article for that. Let's see if we can make this bigger. Move this over. So this is about hydrogen. Hyundai's new hydrogen car sales hit around 7,000 since launch, and this was back in August. So this has been a minute. Let me see if I can. Hydrogen-powered sport utility vehicles reached 7,000 units since June. Seriously, I don't know why we're getting a little arrow. Sales upgraded, and the new model boasts a driving range of 720 kilometers on a single charge and a high-efficiency powertrain capable maximum motor output of 150 kilowatts. So Hyundai Motor provided 32 Nexo SUVs as protocol vehicles for the Asian Pacific Economic Cooperation Energy Ministerial Meeting, blah, 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 in Busan, down south. Rising sales, along with its use at international events, indicate hydrogen mobility is gradually becoming a good part of life. It's a decent looking car. I mean, it's not sporty, I don't think. But it's kind of an interesting little car. Hyundai Nexo. See if we can get some good pictures on this. So you can see it's not bad. That one actually looks. That looks a lot better. That's a better view of that. So it's kind of like a little SUV. So it's pretty good. It's a decent looking vehicle. And again, it's hydrogen, so the exhaust is water vapor. Real nice and clean inside. That looks really good. And they got like 5 or 7 refill stations here in Korea. So yeah, that'd be cool. I could do that. Swedish said, how did the knife go? Oh yeah, let me show you. We did some painting on it. And yeah, we put a little bit of color in this, as you can see. So it's got like a lead belcher kind of colored silver gray. Of course, that's like the pearl black. And then we did some browns on there. And yeah, I think this is going to turn out pretty good. So yeah, I think we did a good job on this so far. We get some other colors in, and we kind of dial that in, and then we'll do some distress on here. It'll look good. It'll look good. So we did a little bit. I think it's going to be pretty good. Pretty good. Sweetie says, wow, awesome knife. Yeah, turned out pretty good. It's good, better than I expected. Concept says, could you imagine America losing out on selling all their oil? I bet they'll squash that Hyundai as well. Yeah, which is really weird. If you want to save the environment, you would definitely go for hydrogen. And the availability of hydrogen, it's out there. You know, hell, you could split water because H2O, you know, hydrogen and 2 parts oxygen, you know, you can cook the water and get hydrogen out of that. Matter of fact, I made an HHO system to go on my Ford little Ranger truck. And I was getting 8 to 10 more miles to the gallon by putting hydrogen into the engine and flowing that into the engine as well. I was getting like 8 to 10 miles extra per gallon of gas along with the hydrogen consistently. So that was, except in the winter, it kind of went down to like 3 or 4 miles extra per gallon, and it depends on how cold it was. Sometimes it wouldn't even get that, but Colorado can get pretty darn cold. But that was just making a hydrogen cell myself, throwing it in there, piping it, put it in through the air intake. Yeah, kind of wild. I thought that was kind of cool. So yeah, the hydrogen is good, but I don't think big petroleum people would like that if people start going to hydrogen, because then you're going to lose. I don't think they'll lose out a lot because still the majority of electricity comes about because of petroleum, and gas and oil and things like that. So I think it'll be a long time before that goes away. I don't think it'll ever go away. And I also don't think that oil and gas are fossil fuels. I think that was somebody sold us a bunch of wolf tickets. Oh, dinosaurs died and then they were compressed by all the pressure as they were buried, and that, then they rotted and became oil and gas. And it's like, no. I think that was made up. And I think gas and oil is a renewable thing. It's a byproduct of the earth. And it's just like we have cycles of spring, summer, winter, fall. I think we've got cycles to where the earth makes, the byproduct is gas and oil. And so you don't run out. Because I think if they were fossils, it was all dependent on fossils, I think we would have used all that up by now. So, yeah. The other thing, concept says, at least until they can figure out nuclear fusion. Yeah, nuclear power is pretty good. It's just, yeah, if you have a meltdown, that's kind of a bad thing. But they're getting better. Swedish says, I follow a Swedish guy who lives in the USA and he helps Swedes buy cars, and apparently American trucks are very, very popular here in Sweden. Yeah, there's some American trucks here in Korea. Oh, but I would not want to drive a big four-wheel drive, like a big truck like I had in the United States. Parking's a pain. Even in our apartment complex, we got some people from the United States who brought their cars over here, and the parking spots are smaller. And it's just a pain in the ass. And I bet the guy is just grinding his teeth whenever he has to park his truck because it's such a pain in the ass and it sticks out so far. He's got like a big truck like I used to have, but you don't really see that as much. Koreans don't have big trucks like we do in the United States, but yeah, it is what it is. What do you do? What do you do? I don't know. What do you do? So yeah, that's it. But yeah, the hydrogen vehicle, I could go for that. And if you can get 720 kilometers out of that, because how many kilometers do I get out of a tank of gas? It's 350-ish for something, maybe, somewhere around there. So, and living on the peninsula of Korea, we could drive up to the DMZ and then drive down to Busan and, still have gas. So 720 kilometers with a hydrogen car, that would be more than enough. But it just kind of depends on where the recharging station is, which I think there might be one close to us. But that's a good question. How much is the Hyundai Nexo? The 2026 Hyundai Nexo hydrogen fuel cell vehicle starts at approximately $55,000. So that's the base price. After government subsidies, the price can drop significantly, sometimes around 40 million won, depending on regional markets. So 40 million won. And we divide that by, let's say, what is it, 1440, I think is the exchange rate. So you're talking 27,000, maybe 28,000, probably 28, 29,000. Registration fees and all that stuff, probably about $30,000, $31,000. That's not bad. It's out of my price range, but yeah. Yeah, they could just grab it out of the ocean, filter it, and stop the seas from rising. Yeah, if the seas truly were rising, no politicians would buy beachfront property, and no insurance company would insure beachfront properties if this whole, the oceans are going to rise. Yeah, they wouldn't do that. So, Swedish says, do you have any power stations in Korea? That is the interesting thing. I think there was like 7 of them. Where in Korea are there hydrogen fuel cell refuel stations? Oh, listen. Oh, kind of interesting. So it ends up saying, let's pop this up on the thing, since we did the little AI little thing here. Are rapidly expanding with over 200 stations as of 2024. Oh, Seoul, Gyeonggi Province, which is where we live, and Gyeongsang Region. Key locations include urban centers in Seoul, Songnam, H2, Ulsan, Incheon Airport, and Cheongju. Various locations in Gyeonggi, including Suwon. Oh, and Hwasongshi? Really? So that's close to us. Nice. Incheon has some. Cheongju, Jeju Island, that's way down south. Highway stations are located along, such as in Onsong. That's close to us as well. Nice. They're government-owned hydrogen refueling stations. 200 of them. That's wild. So Incheon, they do buses, green vehicles. Nice. That's cool. I didn't know it was that many. I thought, wow, they're really getting on it. What does it say? Let's see. About half of all the hydrogen refueling stations in South Korea have broken down since the start of 2022. Oops, here's another one. 154 breakdowns in the past 2 years and 8 months. Okay, so have broken down at some point since 2022 due to technical problems. State-owned gas company, Kogas. Okay. Oh, continue reading for free, but I want to say there's a hydrogen plant real close to us. But yeah, pretty wild. 2024, Seoul Songnam, 700 hydrogen buses to Incheon. For commercial, Jeonju. I don't know. It's a lot cleaner. Save the planet by driving hydrogen. I don't know. Interesting. Have you tried any HueForge stuff on your K2 Plus? No, I haven't yet. I haven't. I've been doing a lot of other stuff, and the HueForge thing I haven't done yet. I've got so much stuff to do. I'm definitely interested in that. So we're going to hold off on the HueForge stuff, but that's definitely on my list of things to get, and we'll give that a try one of these days. Concept says, I did my first yesterday, and I found I had to adjust the Z distance on it about third layer, or it would start rippling. Oh, okay. Interesting. HueForge is kind of cool. I mean, you got to admit that. Let's take a look at that. We'll take a look at the HueForge and see what we got going on there. Let's put this in US dollars. HueForge for free. How to upgrade license, blah, blah, blah. I want to see examples. There we go. That is impressive. That is pretty cool. I mean, you got to admit that is pretty hot. So lifetime, 3D hobbyist, professional, 350 one-time payment. The beta access, no selling printer models. You can sell. So if you're just going to do it for personal use, interesting. Excuse me. Yeah, in lifetime build yearly, $60 a year for limited commercial. Oh, okay, so they have a different one there. Sell physical prints, and then another one, professional subscription. I don't like subscription. That's $120 a year. I would just like to pay it and get the lifetime ever. That's what I would like to do. It says once you buy it, you can get HueForge for free also. And you've just done personal lifetime for now. Okay. Yeah, some of those, I mean, that's some cool stuff. I would do some stuff like that, but I don't know how much I would use it. That's the thing. Let's see if we can go back and we get some images. We can see what they got here. I mean, but yeah, I mean, you could definitely do some wild stuff. Star Wars. You imagine doing like Warhammer stuff on that? And do some pictures of me and the wife or whatever. That would be pretty cool. I like that one. HueForge Japan. Deadpool. Oh, I like that tiger there. That's pretty cool too. It's just amazing what you can do with just two colors in HueForge, and basically you're able to see light through it. It's just crazy, crazy. Concepts like me hate subscription stuff, but they also have FlatForge now too. FlatForge. FlatForge? What is a FlatForge? HueForge. FlatForge? FlatForge plugin. FlatForge plugin. It's HueForge, but flat. Oh. Smooth to the touch software. Bookmarks, coasters, keychains. Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, FlatForge makes the image flat but looks amazing. Yeah, that does look. Swedish says you have to have a multi-color printer, otherwise it will be difficult. Right. But yeah, that's kind of cool. Oh, cool. Nice. That's sharp. Huh. Interesting. Oh, man. You can pause each layer. Oh, okay. So, kind of like old school, you do a print. If you have a single spool unit machine, you could stop it, pause it, change it, put in more. Okay, I see. Yeah, that would be a little bit of a thing. You could do it though. I mean, there's that. But now that, a lot of people are doing multi-material machines and multicolor machines, stuff like that. And now that we're getting stuff like the U1 by Snapmaker. Excuse me. Oh, man. And then, of course, index systems and stuff like that. Yeah. And Concept says it uses color at different depths. Okay, gotcha. So it builds up. If it was real thin and but if it's real thick, okay, got it. I know what you're talking about. I got it. Yeah, that looks pretty awesome. Pretty awesome indeed. So, yeah. Again, one of the things that I want to get into, and eventually I will. So he just says going to buy a K2 multicolor printer. That will be fun. Yeah, I'm either going to get another K2 Plus or I'm going to get the Prusa Core 1L. So, and eventually with the Index upgrade kit. So I have multi-heads. Not that I would do a lot of that, but it'd be cool just to have it. Just to have that and play around with that. But yeah, get a Core 1L with the Index system and you have like 8 heads, induction heated heads. There's your spare parts forever and a day. And do multi-material printing or multicolor printing or both all on that one system. That would be amazing. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, some good stuff. So much stuff I want to do. But definitely if I want to do some cosplay stuff, I'm definitely going to have to get another printer, because like printing some of the stuff off is, even some of the smaller stuff that I want to do is going to take 2 or 3 days. That would definitely go a lot quicker with a second printer. Concept says I would like to get a resin printer next for smoother models. Snapmaker U1, have to see that. Oh yeah, and they're working on a larger Snapmaker. That's the rumor that's going around. So, but yeah, the Snapmaker U1, it should have gotten more fanfare. I thought there would be more people would be excited about it, and there wasn't. Snapmaker U1. It's under pre-order. And let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Let's take a look at this. I want to show you that. Yeah, it's got multiple heads. Yeah, it looks good. It looks good. Let's take a look at this one by Warhammer. And I got to do that so I don't get a copyright strike on music.
I think something that might actually move the goalposts in the 3D printing race forward, even if just by an inch. There's no doubt about it, the Snapmaker U1 changes the game, and we all throw that word around. It's often taken to mean this is the next best printer available, and if that's what you get by my meaning, I'll burst the bubble immediately. It isn't. This isn't perfect. It's got issues. It has a level of potential that could be easily squandered by the brand if they make the wrong decisions or have the wrong focus from here. But make no mistake, the Snapmaker U1 changes the game. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Hi, I'm Ross, and this is Warhammer Videos. And unfortunately, or fortunately, I wasn't one of the lucky few who got to play with this before announcement. I learned about it when everyone else did, on the Kickstarter launch. Now, I immediately reached out and begged for one, wanting to know one thing. What's the catch? The price, the functionality, it sounds far too good to be true, right? And I was initially told they don't have any available, but I very luckily managed to snag this preview unit sent from...
So anyway, it goes through, and yeah, it is pretty impressive as far as the different heads and everything, and being able to, change the heads, and in a sense, change filament or materials, and it is pretty good as far as like the time that it takes to split or change the filaments to the other heads and everything. It is really, really impressive. And then you talk about the Prusa XL, the large one. I thought about getting that, but I looked at that, and with my little bit of electronics background, I just didn't see that as something that would be good. But the change on this, changing filament and printing in, reduced amount of time, less waste. It is really, really impressive, that system there. And I was really surprised that there wasn't a lot more fanfare with this. The build volume is 270 cubed, which is better than the 256. But I mean, that system is working out pretty darn good. So, and I thought it would have been better. It would have been bigger hype and bigger. I thought people would be like all over this thing. It's still in pre-order, but yeah, it's kind of an amazing machine when you think about it. Minimal waste. It's just, he does show that it does have problems, and that is firmware fixes. Of course, every single printer that comes out, there's going to have to be some type of firmware fixes and upgrades and things like that. So yeah, it'll only get better over time. But yeah, definitely a pretty cool little printer. I mean, it is very, very impressive. So, but I think the index system that comes out from Bondtech, I think that's going to put everybody to shame. And so everybody's going to be trying to catch up. So we'll see how that goes. But look at that thing. Look at that thing. Wow. Impressed? I am. So yeah, it is pretty darn amazing on the stuff that it can print, especially that axe. That is just crazy insane. So yeah, but rumor has it that they're going to be making another one, a bigger one with a bigger build area, and if they do that, and I think that'll make a huge splash. So. Concept says, yeah, even though I have a CFS, I still don't multi-print as I hate to create waste. Yeah, I'm kind of the same thing. And I figure I'm doing just, mostly, some models. We do some getting more into cosplay. We've got our blade back there. We've got our big axe that we're working on. We did some swords and, rifles, cosplay stuff. So, we're kind of into that. You don't need multicolor for that, because you're gonna prep it, you're gonna prime it, then you're gonna paint it and stuff like that. So yeah. Concept says HueForge is the first multi-prints that I've done, but due to layering or color for the contrast, I don't waste anything. Yeah, right. I don't want to waste filament either. I think we're in the same boat on that. Swedish says they should have made that 300 cubed. I think so too. I think they lost out on that. The 270 is good, but 300, I mean, 3 times 4 is like 12 inches. Yeah, so 300 would be just shy of 1 foot. So 270 is going to get you just over 10 and a half. So that extra little bit, I don't understand why they don't do that. Especially when more printers are coming out with larger build areas, and you come in and say, hey, well, let's do 270. It's like, why do 270? Just go 300. I don't know. I'm right there with you, Swedish. I'm right there with you. So anyway, we're going to go ahead, since it is, what time is it? It's almost 10 o'clock. And I got to spend some time with the wife. So I'm going to cut this stream. But yeah, definitely looking to get another printer. Like I said, it's either going to be a $1,000 K2 Plus, or it's going to be a $2,800, $2,000, whatever it is. I don't know. Well, Core 1L. We'll see how that goes. Got to save up my nickels and dimes and all that. So, Concept says, yeah, have a good night, man. Almost 2 a.m. there. Holy crow. Wow. Crazy. So, we will let you all go. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stopping by. Swedish, Concept Gaming, and the other people that stopped by. So, the Ed Noy came in, and he was here for a bit. MD was here for a little while, and then George had popped in earlier, so we got all that. Sweetie says, say hello to your wife and sleep well. Yes, I will. Yeah, she was kind of, when I told her, I said, we have people from Sweden, Denmark, and she's like, really? I said, yeah, we got some cool people on the stream. Not many, but we got cool people. So I'll take a few cool people over a lot of idiots any day of the week. So yeah, you all are good to go. All right, we'll go ahead and we'll leave it at that. And the obligatory outro. If you want to contact me, there is the email address, official theburiedlife@gmail.com. Just to say hi, show me what you're doing, whatever it is. Shoot me an email and show me the prints that you're doing on that concept. I'd like to see that. And then if you just want to say hi, you can do that as well. People have bought me coffee, link in the description box. Don't worry about it. The very best thing that you can do for me is to like the video, subscribe to the channel, smash it, ring that bell so that you can come up and see what is going on the next live stream or future videos. So with that, we'll go ahead and bid you adieu, and we will see you all in the next stream. Peace. See you on the next one. All right, we're out of here.